My relationship with From Software's Souls games has been pretty inconsistent. I never played Demon Souls. I've played Dark Souls, and I didn't get very far. I've played Dark Souls 2, and I didn't get very far. I've played Dark Souls 3 and got a good chunk into the game, but I never finished it. Bloodborne? Oh baby, that was an experience. I can't believe all the trick weapons and the visceral attacks and the insight and I never finished it. I never finished it. I bet you could see a pattern here. Now Elden Ring is upon us, and I'm feeling like my track record won't be any different. But I love these games and I've never regretted a purchase. Even now with Elden Ring, I feel like the price of entry is well worth it. Okay, so Elden Ring has been out for a bit now, and like many others, I picked it up and have been playing it off and on. However, as a PC player, my experience has been pretty mixed. The only real problem I've had is the same problem most PC players are experiencing: framerate drops. In my experience, the drops have been inconsistent. Sometimes it's severe, sometimes it's insignificant, sometimes it doesn't happen at all. To give you a quick idea of what I'm working with, I have a RX 5700 XT, it's literally called the Thick with 2 C's, an R9 3900X, 32 gigabytes of RAM at 3200 megahertz, running the game off of an SSD. I feel like these specs should be good enough to handle the game, but alas, I still have these experiences. I even turned down a lot of the settings with similar results. I feel like Digital Foundry has a good video going over this kind of thing with Elden Ring, so if you have some extra time, I recommend checking that out. This issue seems to reach its worst when attempting to fight a world boss, the Tree Sentinel. I tried fighting him a few times on foot before getting Torrent, and there are some instances in that fight that drops the frame rate so bad. So much so that it's extremely frustrating to play. Now this all seems to occur mostly in the open world. I think this might just be due to a lot of assets loading in. As soon as you go into a confined space like a cave or a castle, the frame rate mostly stabilizes. During these indoor sections, I'm playing the game without issue most of the time. Most of the time. On top of this frame rate issue, there are times where the game decides to minimize itself. This happens seemingly randomly, but it's most frustrating when you're in a fight. It's gotten me killed a couple of times as well, which is never fun. I'm not quite sure what causes this. I tried looking into it and it definitely seems like a bug with the game. Most cases I've read about had Windows 11 in common, but I'm on Windows 10, so I figure it wasn't really an OS issue. Some players mentioned playing in borderless windowed mode fixes it, but results may vary. Despite all of that, I played anyway and have been having a good time when the game behaves. It's just as unforgiving as any other From Software title. The combat feels like home for Dark Souls fans, and the open world is pretty interesting to explore. There are a lot of events and NPCs you could talk to who could send you on a side quest if you were willing. All in all, the game on its own merit is pretty damn good. I'm still pretty early on in the game, so I don't have a whole lot to say at the moment. I managed to beat Margit, but that's about it. I recommend taking your time to explore the world in the beginning to get yourself acquainted with the game and level up your character. You can also find some weapons out in the open world as well. You might even find a maiden. This dude at the beginning straight up tells you to find some bitches, which spawned all the no maidens memes. One of my favorites out of all of these is the L+ ratio one. That is an instant classic. Anyway, if you're a fan of From Software and you haven't jumped into Elden Ring just yet, it's definitely something I recommend. If you're a PC player, you may want to hold off until they patch the issues I spent most of this video talking about. But once they've got that taken care of, I'm sure this will be a fantastic experience. For those that are new to these kinds of games, let me just fill you in on a few things that may help. You are going to die. A lot. You'll die to regular mobs, you'll die to bosses, you'll die because a player-written message told you to jump off a cliff and you fell to your death. Don't be discouraged when you die. It's a learning experience, so you'll be a little bit more experienced for the next fight. Level up your character and upgrade your weapons. Once you have a maiden, you'll be able to start leveling up your character's attributes. Based on how you want to play, you'll want to level up different things, but I also recommend you're leveling up your endurance and vigor for your stamina and health. You'll be able to stay in a fight longer if your health is higher and you have more stamina to work with. You'll also be able to make your weapon stronger with specific items you find on your journey, so keep an eye out for them. While not apparent, I guess you could say Elden Ring does have a slightly easier mode. It's not a toggle, though it'll come in the form of summons. Right now I only have the spirit dogs, but these summons can help you with boss fights. You can also summon players if you wish. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying, oh, but the summons are a game mechanic, it's not a handicap, and I get it. But for those that are veteran Dark Souls players, a lot of the time they're probably not going to use the ashes, the summons. But hey, no shame in using them. I used him on Margit, or Margit. Margit? How do you say this guy's fucking name? I don't know. Kind of went off on a tangent there. Lastly, explore the world. I know I mentioned this earlier, but I really feel like getting lost in the world is a huge part of the Elden Ring experience. Sure, it's different from how previous From Software games were, but there's so much out there to see and do that you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you try to go and do the major bosses and story beats right off the fucking bat. Anyway, that's about all I had for right now. Elden Ring is something special, and I just wanted to get my 2 cents out there. I'll be doing videos on games that aren't shooters from time to time, along with the odd news story here and there. If you want to see more of these videos, please consider subscribing and liking the video, as that always helps. Any and all links can be found in the description down below, along with my social media, including my Twitter and Twitch. With that being said, stay hydrated, I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.